Good evening. Welcome to the April 24th, 2017 Troy City Council meeting. We are pleased this evening to have Councilmember Baker lead us with the invocation. So if you would please rise for that and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father in heaven, we give you thanks for this beautiful day and for the beautiful weather you've given us here in Troy. We ask that you continue to bless us through this evening and into tomorrow. Be with all of us here in City Hall as we work to keep Troy the wonderful place that it is and debate and discuss important issues for our city among the residents, city staff, and council members. Please be with those in our city who need our help and may be afraid to ask for it, knowing that they deserve just as much love and attention as you can give them. Please be with us all, as always. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Baker. Our meeting is now called to order. The roll call, it says Ms. Dixon, but I know that's Ms. Stewart.
Mayor Slater?
Here.
Councilmember Abraham?
Here.
Councilmember Baker?
Here.
Councilmember Henderson?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick?
Here.
Councilmember McCowan?
Here.
Councilmember Pennington?
Here.
All present. I did receive correspondence last Thursday at the special study session that Councilman McCowan would be absent from that meeting, so I will hereby propose to excuse the absence of Councilman McCowan at the special budget study session of April 20th, 2017, due to being out of the county.
Support.
Moved by the chair, supported by Councilman Pennington, do we excuse the absence of Councilman McCowan at the special budget study session of April 20th, 2017, due to being out of the county. Discussion. The vote, Ms. Stewart?
Mayor Slater?
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick?
Yes.
Councilmember McCowan?
Yes.
Councilmember Pennington?
Yes.
Motion passes. First on the agenda are certificates of recognition and special presentations. C1 is a presentation on behalf of the City of Troy Employees Casual for Cause program for the months of January and February 2017. Community Affairs Director Cindy Stewart will present a check to one of our favorite citizens. Good evening, Jim.
Council.
Welcome.
It's always my pleasure on behalf of the employees when we get to present a Casual for a Cause check, and this is especially wonderful. The employees, as you know, we can dress casual on Fridays and we donate our money, and for the month of January and February we picked Helping Angels Charity. So we have $636 for Helping Angels Charity,
great.
and I'm sure Jim would tell us a little bit about the charity so you can get some publicity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I turn? Do I?
Nope.
You can speak to us if that's okay.
You know, I almost don't even want to talk about the charity. I just want to talk about the people, you people. You are the ones that really extend yourself, not only in council, with city work, but making this happen. It's there are so many people. 13 years ago that I got involved with the Area Agency on Aging and Meals on Wheels and founded Helping Angels Charity, and it's grown. There's so many people that need help that we don't even know about, and it just breaks your heart and you want to cry. And it's just fabulous to know that I've got a city. Since 1970 we've been here, and I am so proud of you guys. I really am. That's all I've got to say. I got to tell them to start crying. I love all of you, and this is what it's all about. We live in a tough world with all these demonstrations and killings, and then when you come over here and you see the embracement that you put towards our citizens, it's fabulous. And I thank all of you. I really do. You're all in my prayers. So thank you. And Cindy, thank you very, very
You're
much from
welcome.
the city and all the employees, okay?
I will
Thank you, Jim.
share
Thank you,
that with
everybody.
them.
Thank you, Jim.
God bless you.
Jim, that is very kind of you to say that about us, but you're the one that deserves the thanks for what you do for our community. It's people like you that really make this community what it is, and we thank you very much for what you do. C2 is a special recognition, and I'd like to make a presentation to Elaine Bowe, our Recreation Director, Kelly Molinar, our Recreation Supervisor, because for 2014, 2015, 2016, we've got several awards to present on behalf of the Troy Family Aquatic Center. So if I could come down there, I'd like to present those to you folks, if that's okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. This is quite an honor when you get an award 3 years in a row. And this first one is for, let me start with 2014. 2014 vote for the best. Click on Detroit for the Sport and Recreation Swimming Pool, for the Troy Family Aquatic Center for 2014, 2015, 2016. That's quite an accomplishment. I know you're going to talk about it, but I think we're the only city that's happened to. And also, here's 2016 Innovation Recreation Programming Award presented to the City of Troy Parks and Recreation for Glow Night on February 16, 2016. Thank you very much for what you do to make us look good. It's quite an award, especially 3 years in a row. If you could just tell us a little about it, but congratulations. Great job. Thanks.
you.
Good evening. The Family Aquatic Center opened in 1992 for its first full year of operation. Since then, and at that time it was paid for fully for $2.1 million. It would be really hard to replicate that facility today. However, there's lots of activities and programs for the families. Kelly is our newest employee. She's been with us for 3.5 years. She runs that operation, and she'll tell you a little bit about the Vote for Best Award.
So this is the 4th year I'll be running the Troy Family Aquatic Center, and I'm looking to keep #1. So this is Metro Detroit Swimming Pool. It's on Channel 4. You can see the specials about us, but you can go online starting in July and support us. Our biggest fans are our visitors, and of course any Troy citizens and non-residents are welcome as well. Opening day for 2017 is May 26th, and we're using our prices from 25 years ago, $250 for residents and $350 for non-residents. So we hope you'll join us this summer.
I think it was the Dave and Dane show at the Aquatic Center that put it over the top in one of those years. There are no carryover items this evening or public hearings. I don't see that anyone has signed up for public comment for items on the agenda from Troy residents or businesses.
Oh, wow.
I'm just going to ask Larry, Chiapelli, Troy resident, did you wish to speak on an item on the agenda this evening? No? Okay.
The 2 items on each?
Yeah. She has 2.
2 names.
I don't have any names on mine. Is there anyone in the audience that signed up to speak on public comment for items on the agenda from Troy residents or businesses? Nancy, did you want to speak?
For under H?
Please come forward. For some reason, it's not showing up on mine.
Mine either. She's got 2 names for F.
Good evening,
Good
Mayor
evening.
Slater, council members, City of Troy employees. I'm Nancy Morrison, the Executive Director of the Troy Community Coalition for the Prevention of Drug and Alcohol Abuse. I wanted to share with you some data. This is 26 data, which is from the Michigan Profile for Healthy Youth. It is administered every 2 years in the Troy School District. And this is in regards to marijuana. So 17.1% of 11th grade students report that they smoked marijuana in the past 30 days. And that kind of coincides with Alan's presentation in regards to increase in when the perception of harm is decreased in regards to the medical marijuana, then use increases. And so that's what we see happening. And then 53.4% of 11th grade students report that it's easy or very easy to obtain marijuana. So again, availability is an issue. If we allow further grow facilities, and marijuana will be more available to our youth. I also wanted to talk a little bit about brain development, and approximately 1 in 6 teens will become addicted to marijuana. We have also found out that when a person starts smoking marijuana at a young age and continues to smoke, that they can decrease their IQ by 6 to 8 points. So again, please help us protect our youth. Let's give them a chance to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. I have the names. I'll just call on them. Thank you.
She was there. Just further down.
Oh, these 2 names are on hers.
Yeah. When I hit refresh, it takes the name.
Disappeared.
Yep.
Darn computers. I see that Bob Locks, Troy resident, would like to speak on each one.
No, that's me. That's our
Okay.
test one.
All
These
right.
2 are no good.
No good?
Yep, I'm Larry.
Okay.
Technology is wonderful.
Technology is wonderful.
Ethan.
I thought you had a twin out there. Okay, we will move to H1, which is a postponed item, medical marijuana. And I know City Attorney Lori Bloom will make a presentation. We did have a study session earlier this evening to discuss this, and this will be a continuation of that discussion. Good evening, Lori.
Thank you, Mayor. And actually, the presentation was done at the earlier meeting, but I did want to point out that you do have for your consideration 2 possible resolutions tonight to consider. The first is a resolution imposing a temporary moratorium, and this is on those grow operations, the up to 72 plant grow operations. There are a number of them. I think there may be support from council to do some licensing regulations for all of those, and it makes sense for us until we can consider that and until council can decide whether or not that's something that they want to do to prohibit other persons from establishing those businesses in the city of Troy and getting permits for them. So there is a proposed resolution A that does provide for a moratorium. Again, it's a temporary moratorium, and it's 180 days. And part of this also is based on the saturation that we have in the city of Troy, and we have established that there are a number of these operations currently existing in the city of Troy. The second resolution for your consideration, and is something that is recommended by city administration, and this is a resolution that would opt out of the commercial facilities that are allowed under the 2016 new marijuana facilities licensing. And this is not something that is required under state law. In fact, if you took no action, then these commercial facilities would not be able to be located in the city of Troy. However, we are getting a number of inquiries from persons, and it would be very helpful, not only for our property owners who are interested in potentially investing, but also just so that the residents know, and it's a very clear statement as to where the city council stands on that position. So we have made a recommendation, and the second proposal, Part B, would be a resolution that would be specifically opting out of all 5 of the commercial facilities that could otherwise be allowed if you passed a specific ordinance allowing those. So with that, I'm happy to address any questions that City Council has.
Thank you. Any questions for the city attorney at this point? If it's all right with council, I think we should take A and B separately, if that's okay. If somebody would like to move the H1A so we can have some discussion. Councilman Baker.
I'd like to move H1 medical marijuana subsection A, resolution imposing temporary moratorium on issuance of building permits for medical marijuana grow operations under Michigan Medical Marijuana Act as printed.
Support.
Moved by Councilman Baker and supported by Councilman Henderson that we approve H1A, which is the resolution imposing a temporary moratorium on issuance of building permits for medical marijuana grow operations under Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. Discussion. Councilman Baker.
We just had our study session, and for me, at this point, there seems to be more questions than answers. No slight to the city attorney's office presentation. It was a very thorough presentation, but I think it raised a lot of questions for us. And for me to have a moratorium on allowing the new smaller operations to come in while we work to try to figure out what we can do to regulate and what we want to do as far as the opting in or opting out seems like a smart move for us. So I think it might be wise to do that for the city, and we need the time to figure things out.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick.
Just to clarify, we're talking about a 180-day moratorium, correct?
That is what the resolution calls for, is 180 days. We thought that would provide us with enough time to bring some additional documentation to you, maybe a resolution, maybe an ordinance.
Councilman McCowan?
Yeah, I agree with what Councilman Baker was saying. I mean, at this point, the full impact of the new legislation hasn't really been completely understood. So it seems wise to kind of put a hold on things so we can figure out exactly where everything's going to sit before we move forward. So I think I'm fully on board with this.
Councilman Henderson.
If you would have asked me last week, I would have said let's opt out and stop the flow of anything marijuana in the city of Troy. But I agree with all the council members that have spoken so far. There's so many tentacles in this that opting out, giving us 180 days is probably the logical thing to do so that we can get our arms around it and make good legislation here.
Councilman Pennington.
A moratorium on these larger grow operations is a no-brainer. After hearing the presentation and talked to some of the police officers after the couple of the break-ins at these warehouses, this marijuana is going somewhere. And as Nancy pointed out, 53% of our high school students say that marijuana is easily accessible to them. So obviously, as marijuana is getting stolen, it's distributed somewhere, and if we can put a moratorium on it and cap that, more power to us.
Councilwoman Abraham.
We were certainly presented with a lot of information at the study session, and it highlights the complexity of the topic. If it were easy, it'd be a slam dunk, and who wouldn't need a study session? I think it would be wise to take the 180 days so we can really study and make wise decisions so that we're balancing the needs of those who have a very justifiable medical reason to have the marijuana and balance that against the safety of the community at large, particularly our youngest citizens who could be at risk and could be opening the door to much bigger problems and harder drugs in the future. So I would also support the moratorium.
Thank you. I also agree that there's a need for a moratorium at this point due to the comments that were made by council this evening. Any further comment on Resolution H1A, which is a resolution to impose a temporary moratorium? The vote, Ms. Stewart?
Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick?
Yes.
Councilmember McCowan?
Yes.
Councilmember Pennington?
Yes.
Mayor Slater?
Yes. Motion passes. We'll look forward to city administration's response to this important topic for that. H1B is next. Would someone like to move that resolution? Councilman Baker?
I'd like to move H1B resolution expressly opting out of all medical marijuana facilities under the Medical Marijuana Facilities Act, as printed.
Support.
Moved by Councilman Baker and supported by Councilman McCowan that we approve H1B, which is a resolution expressly opting out of all medical marijuana facilities under the Medical Marijuana Facilities Act. Discussion, Councilman Baker.
Although I moved it, as I said previously, I think we need time to work out some of these issues and figure out what is going to change coming from Lansing or what guidance we'll get, what we can do as a city before we make this decision. So I will be voting no. But again, and that was a good time to say, I don't think we're debating up here the validity of medical marijuana or the needs for it for those who are in need of it. I don't think that's what we're tasked with. It's about the safety of our community as it stands with zoning and structures and police powers. So this isn't a conversation for me about the benefits or not benefit of medical marijuana. I just want to make that clear.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick.
I agree with Councilman Baker that when I would like to take some time to truly discern and be as wise as we can be on this topic. There are people with medical needs. There is crime and addiction that comes out of marijuana. I'm familiar with both sides of it, and the decisions we make sometimes can have unintended consequences, where something on its face seems like it's going to do X, and as you discern and study it further, you find out it went left on you. And this is an important decision to make. The safety of the community and our youth is, we're all with you on that. And I really do want to study this and understand what an opt-out does and what an opt-in does for us. So.
Thank you. Councilman Henderson.
What became clear in the study session is that opting out doesn't necessarily address the existing facilities that we have in Troy. So I think the further study sessions and thinking through the process will allow us to figure out, what that means to us and how we can make an ordinance that would protect us, with regard to those existing facilities. And if I may, I'd like to just address one of the public comments that was in the in the meeting. Is that appropriate? Somebody had mentioned towards something that I had stated about not really knowing whether somebody who has a medical marijuana card legitimately has that medical marijuana card, and they indicated that who are we to challenge the personal relationships between doctors and their patients. And I've seen a lot of these situations where doctors will hand these things out to people that don't necessarily need it. I'm not smart enough to know whether somebody needs it or doesn't need it, but I do know that there's abuse in that arena. So again, I think that needs to be studied as well with all of this.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? As I stated at the study session, I personally am not sure if I want to opt in or opt out at this point, and I think we have time to make that decision and do some more research and listen to all sides of the issue. So I'm going to be voting no for the resolution, but that doesn't mean that I'm voting no to opt out at this point, just to continue the discussion further down the road. So is there any other discussion before we take the vote? The vote, Ms. Stewart?
Councilmember Baker?
No.
Councilmember Henderson?
No?
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick?
No.
Councilmember McCowan?
No.
Councilmember Pennington?
No.
Mayor Slater?
No.
Councilmember Abraham?
No.
Motion fails. I would just like to see if is there a consensus? I thought I heard from council that maybe they want to have another study session on this issue.
Definitely.
I think there's consensus to have another study session if staff could set that up at a convenient time for, I would say, what do we need? At least a month to do our own.
Certainly after the budget, we would...
After the budget.
After the budget, yes.
Okay, great. Councilman Henderson.
Along those lines, is it prudent that we all send our questions and ideas to the city attorney so she knows what to address in the study session?
I would definitely appreciate that.
Sounds like a good idea. Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick.
And just to clarify for the public, that we have time to do this. We're not in a situation where these operations are going to get licensed and start to get built while we study. The state has given us time to study and understand and make this decision. I just want to make sure that folks understand that. Since we have that time, it's prudent for us to take advantage.
Mayor, if I just may add just a clarification that we do have until December, the state will not issue licenses until December of this year, so just to further bolster your statement.
But City Attorney Bloom, we have 180 days on the moratorium, so we're going to be looking at some ordinances and some
Yes, Mayor. Certainly, we would need some direction from you, and so a study session would be very helpful. And then at that point in time, we can discuss different options that you had for possible legislation.
I don't know about anyone else at the table, but it would be helpful for me to see some ordinance examples. I know there's some out there that have been forwarded to us, but I'd like to see that come from the city attorney's office.
Mayor, you certainly will see something that's drafted by the municipal side rather than the industry side, which is, I believe, what you have so far.
Thank you. Councilman Henderson?
Yeah, not to beat the dead horse, but the moratorium that we did vote on freezes us where we're at, so we can't expand in that arena at all for 180 days while we think this over and make good legislations.
Correct. I know there was a question that was posed to me, if somebody already has their permit, they're okay, correct?
If it's a viable permit, Mayor, then yes, that is true. When I last checked in the resolution, there were no viable permits, and that was one of the reasons why we thought it was a good idea to do it now, because we didn't have any viable permits where they hadn't invested and they hadn't, pulled it and done the work that was necessary to comply with the state law.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is regular business. I-1 are board and committee appointments. There are no board and committee appointments from the mayor or city council. So we will move to I-2, which are board and committee nominations. I have two nominations that I would like to forward for the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. I would like to nominate Mary Kerwin and Rosemary Kornacki to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for the terms to expire 4/30/2020.
Support.
Moved by the chair, supported by Councilman Pennington, that we nominate Mary Kerwin, Rosemary Kornacki to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for the terms that expire 4/30/2020. Discussion. The vote, Ms. Stewart?
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick?
Yes.
Councilmember McCowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Pennington?
Yes.
Mayor Slater?
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you to those residents that volunteered their time to be on a committee. That concludes the nominations for the mayor positions. I will now defer to Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick for city council nominations.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 4 nominations in total. 2 are for the Personnel Board. I would like to move that we reappoint Deborah Baumann and Michael Rosenberg for the terms expiring April 30th, 2020 to the Personnel Board. And for the Zoning Board of Appeals, I'd like to reappoint Albert Allen Neal and Dave Lambert for the terms expiring April 30th, 2020.
Support.
Support.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick and supported by Councilwoman Abraham that we nominate those indicated by Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick to the various boards as indicated. Discussion? The vote, Ms. Stewart?
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick?
Yes.
Councilmember McCowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Pennington?
Yes.
Mayor Slater?
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you to those residents also for volunteering. I3 is a request for closed session. There was a yellow sheet supplied by the city attorney this evening, placed on the council table. I will move I3, resolve that the Troy City Council shall meet in closed session as allowed under MCLA 15.268 subsection E, City of Troy versus Grand Sakwa.
Support.
Moved by the chair, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick, that we will meet in closed session as indicated. Discussion? The vote, Ms. Stewart?
Councilmember McCowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Pennington?
Yes.
Mayor Slater?
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next is the consent agenda. Any consent agenda item wish to be pulled by council this evening? Councilman Henderson.
I'd like to move all items on the consent agenda as printed.
Support.
Moved by Councilman Henderson, supported by Councilman Baker, that we approve all items on the consent agenda as presented in the agenda packet this evening. Discussion? The vote, Ms. Stewart?
Councilmember Pennington?
Yes.
Mayor Slater?
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick?
Yes.
Councilmember McCowen?
Yes.
Motion passes. If you were here on a consent agenda item this evening, they've all been approved. Next are memorandums and future council agenda items. K1 is an announcement for a public hearing for May the 8th, 2017, which is the adoption of the 2017-18 annual budget and 3-year budget, 2018, 2019, and 2019 to 2020. There are no memorandums submitted by council this evening, so we will move to public comment for items not on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses, and I'd like to call on Larry Chappelli, Troy resident.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody. First of all...
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. I'm a little shy because I don't really speak that much. And
you did fine at the study session.
But anyways, first thing I want to just thank the City of Troy for all that you've done, at least for me. I have a grandma's gardens, and without your help and a lot of advice along the way, I'd never been able to, to do exactly what I do as well. And some of the reasons why I'm here is to try and give back to the city as much as possible too, by helping whenever I can too, because I have a little bit of experience in certain things. And I think, like I expressed last time, I think I'd like to move that we put the restoration of Sylvan Glen Lake on the agenda. As I spoke to some people, I felt that it was pretty bad. Looks like nothing has been done for about 50 years in that place, and I was thinking that it could be easily redesigned and repaired so it would make the city look good. And I think I'd like to take this time, because I finally realizing how everything works around here, that we have to maybe schedule a meeting or something so we could address it. And I'd like to even volunteer some design work if I could to help ease that. And I think that's pretty much what I'd like to talk about tonight, and see what anybody's feelings is for the future, because it, as I said the last time, everybody that pulls off I-75 sees little signs, Sylvan Glen, it's almost 200,000 people a day that looks at that sign, and then when they actually come to the park, what do they see? And I just felt like, after I went with my girlfriend's grandson and to show him how beautiful it was when I was a child, and then I looked at it and we actually walked away because it was so horrible. And I think that a park like that should be addressed, at least by the city and the county, to whoever it is, to help restore it, that's all. And I think that's kind of primarily what I'm here for, not only to meet the city and the people involved in the city, and just to offer my assistance whenever I could, and just try and schedule a meeting to repair that situation, because it is a beautiful park, and I think it's just let go. It's just like one of these areas of Troy that's just abandoned, and I don't think it's a good idea personally. So that's why I'm here, basically, and hopefully that I can help in any way I can. So at least we can address it, that I see it. And sometimes we all have to look at things with other eyes. We all go along in our lives and we say, well, if we have a different set of eyes looking at something, we can see that there is a problem. So, and that's pretty much, other than to come here tonight and say thank you for everything that the city has helped me in my business and what I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I did receive your email and forwarded your email on. Any response from council or city administration wish to, maybe at some point, Brian, if we could get a response to how that park is being looked at and addressed, might be helpful.
Yeah, we'll certainly give a response, and Kurt Bovenseep and the rest of the people in parks, we'll have them look at it and take pictures and get it to council and see exactly what it looks like out there.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick.
Kind of prompts the question, I feel like I should know the answer to this, but like our roads, there's kind of a rotation and a monitoring that goes on, and we understand the maintenance that we want to do and kind of the time frame we're looking to do it in. I'm assuming we do the same with our parks and whatnot, and how we look at that, but maybe that's an unfair assumption. How does that work, and how do we decide and prioritize where we're doing upgrades?
Well, we follow the parks plan, number one. that this council's adopted. And then as needed, last year, remember, we did the big drainage, there's only so many drainage projects we can do, and we did the Sylvan Glen Phase 2, I believe, and then Phase 3. So it's as the people in the field, whether it's Kurt or the parks people, see the problems, then we address them. And it goes through the budget process, normally. And we talk about it in capital or in drainage based on a list that's provided by the Public Works Department.
Councilman Henderson.
When I was a kid, I lived in Sylvan Glen Sub, and we used to come and hang out in those woods just behind the lake. Is there a way to connect Sylvan Glen to Rochester Road in the new trails scenario that we are putting together with the budget?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I certainly can answer a lot of these questions as well. The original plan for the trails and pathways that connected all the city parks, or the major parks, included a trail and pathway through Sylvan Glen Park and connecting the subdivision. So it does kind of go with that same theme excuse me, that we talked about at the study session of connecting parks and connecting neighborhoods and concentrating with those nodes in the trail and pathway plan.
Councilman Baker.
It's not a question for you, Kurt, but maybe you can talk about it. I think Mr. Chappelle's statements or the things he's talking about might be somewhat more of a beautification process, not just as it relates to maintenance with drainage. And I don't know how I know that's addressed through the budget, and certainly we've cut back on, there used to be flowers out in front of City Hall that aren't there anymore. And as the economy's done certain things to us, that's a reality. I certainly, would be interested in seeing some potential plans or some thoughts that you had, just one, because you came here and talked about it. I think that that's something our citizens should do, and I appreciate you for that, so thank you.
That'll happen.
Yeah, sometimes we just need somebody to come tell us to take a look at something, so we appreciate you doing that. Thank you. Any other comments from council? There are no council referrals this evening, so we will move to council comments. Any council comments this evening? Councilman McCowan.
I actually have one. I know that's not until May 8th until we formally look at the budget, but since this was my first rodeo, so to speak, on the budget for City Council, I feel obligated to comment. I must say I'm impressed. It's unlike, as a CFO, I have done budgets for years, every year of my professional career, but it's unlike anything I've ever seen professionally. It's different. It's a city, and it's everybody, and it's huge. It was really well done. I was really happy to see how the budget was done. I liked the process, and I really appreciate the study session, so I just wanted to comment on that. Good job to city staff in putting everything together and pulling it all off. I'm looking forward to the presentation.
Thank you. Councilman Henderson.
I know I voted against the electric lawnmowers, but today I was driving down Coolidge near Square Lake, and I thought I was going deaf, but I saw the lawnmowers mowing a median, and pretty impressive. I could not hear them.
You didn't see any smoke either, did you?
No smoke. No.
No exhaust?
Very clean.
Yeah. Councilman Baker.
This was mentioned the other night at the study session by City Manager, but I just want to say again a special thanks to Commissioner Wade Fleming, who called the city on the day basically that a grant request was due with the Oakland County roads, as I understand it. And because of his notifying the city and the city's hard work, Bill Hootery and other staff, I'm sure, getting an application, we were able to get, I think it was $208,000 of grant money that's going to be directly applied to a project that we were been talking about for a number of years. So thank you to Commissioner Fleming. It's good service for our community. And of course, city staff for handling it so fast. Thank you.
Thank you. Any council comments? I hate to put Elaine Bowe back on the spot, but I noticed on the desk here with all of us, there's, and Kelly's not here, could you just explain to us, is this a gift from us for the Aquatic Center, and I know my granddaughter's going to love this, but,
Wore these for the meeting.
yeah, I think we should have wore the sunglasses tonight. Thank you for this. This is...
Oh, you're welcome. The sunglasses were
There we go.
one of our giveaways at our birthday party in March, and it is for this summer, our 25th anniversary, and it's just a little token. Inside is a pamphlet with this season's information about passes, and then also a separate sheet of paper about all of our events this summer. So I hope you join us.
Great. I just want to say thank you,
Thanks. Mayor?
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick.
I just want to put a plug in for the fact that you're never too old to hit the aquatic center. I've been known to, on an evening when it's hot and on my own even, just, my kids are grown and gone, and I remember taking my daughter as a baby when it was first opened. I have the most adorable pictures of her, and I have fond memories, and it's still just as fun as a mother of grown children to go and watch families there having so much fun, and the tube slide just, it's a blast. It just, you never are too old for that. So our aquatic center is another one of our really amazing gems in this city, and please take advantage if you haven't. No matter what age you are, it's a lot of fun.
Thank you. Any other council comments? Next, our reports. Any council member wish to discuss any of the reports in the agenda this evening? We'll move to comments on items on or not on the agenda from members of the public outside of Troy. Nancy, I see your name here. Did you wish to speak again? Thank you. That concludes our meeting for this evening. We will adjourn to a closed session. Thank you for coming this evening.